Hello from your favorite strong podcaster. I keep hearing that. I keep hearing that I'm so strong. It's your favorite strong cancer warrior podcaster. I would like to begin by asking this question. What makes you guys think that I am strong? Because I've heard that a lot. I think that you are confusing my own strength with my lack of access to drugs. I think that's what's going on here, because I'm not from the streets, or I am, but they're streets with names like Pleasant Brook. I don't know where to get my hands on the things that would help me handle this in a bad way. But if anyone knows, I mean, I guess you can't leave a comment on YouTube for that one. But listen, it's not that I'm handling it so well. It's that I don't have options. But you know, if I had different options, you would be saying Jen looks great in her mugshot. You wouldn't be saying that I'm so strong. Yeah, it is only lack of options that is making it seem like I'm just handling this like an absolute rock. It's interesting what's going on in my life. It is an interesting combination that I would say has never been done in comedy, that I kept my Florida shows, and this is relevant to you, even if you're not in Florida, because just speaking generally, it's interesting that I am doing stand-up comedy right before I go to St. Jude's to deal with this cancer situation with one of my kids. And definitely, I don't think that's been done before. I don't think there has been a mom in comedy that's like, you know what's on my calendar for next week. Yeah, that's never been done before. And I could see how someone would feel pressure, because stand-up comedy, it is a high pressure thing. It makes regular public speaking look like a day at the spa. And people tend to fear regular public speaking. But the difference with stand-up is because everyone knows that the audience is supposed to be laughing, and they can usually tell when you are going for a joke. So if the audience doesn't laugh, everyone in the room knows you just failed. And do you know how often you ideally would make an audience laugh on average? Laugh out loud, not silently, not like in my mind. That was a good one. Laugh out loud. Minimum. I mean, some comedians do more than this, but it should average out to 3 laughs per minute.
What?
Minute. Yeah, that's what it.
Wow.
It should average out to that. If you look at somewhat like Gaffigan, when he's on fire, it's like 6 laughs per minute. Now you can kind of balance it out. Like if you get a long rolling laughter applause break, that kind of balances it out. Or if there's a kind of a longer story with a big payoff, but it should average out to about that. I mean, if you were down to 1 laugh a minute, that's you shouldn't do that. You should be better than that. So that's a high pressure thing, but everyone who is going to be at my shows, I'm sorry, we have a puppy situation going on here. We have a lot going on, as always, guys. But everyone who's going to be at my shows, most of them anyway, knows what's going on. So obviously, there's an elephant in the room, and the elephant has cancer. It's pretty hard to ignore. And so I mean, I need to talk about what's going on in the set. And I want to, because like I didn't get into stand up to just tell fart jokes. I mean, that's not, because there's some comedians who are like, I just wanted to make people laugh. I mean, you can make people laugh if you do like the farting noise with your armpit. I mean, that is, you can make people laugh with that. I don't care about that. I mean, I hope they laugh, but it's like I have always found that humor and laughter really is a very cathartic way to process life and to process things, and it's very bonding. In order to laugh with a group of people, you have to have something in common with them. You have to have a bond with them. You have to have certain you have to have a certain amount of emotional intimacy with them. Oh, hit the tangent alert, but we're only a couple minutes in already. That is why certain men who say that categorically across the board women are never funny, the reason they say that is because laughter is intimacy, and they can't be intimate with women. Yeah. And some of them are in the closet, some of them are, they just have a lot of trauma with women, but that men who say that categorically they can't be emotionally intimate with women, so that's why they can't laugh with women. So anyway, just drop it. So many truth bombs. But how is this podcast free?
Seriously.
So there's no way that I would get up there and not talk about what's going on, because the reality is I'm not the only one with problems. My fans, you guys' lives are dumpster fires. I mean, like, you guys have problems too. And it might not be this, worst case scenario situation, but you guys have problems too. And I think that is why people come to my shows, because I do talk about real stuff, and I'm not going to go for just cheap, stupid laughs. It's why I would have always done clean comedy. And it's I have a few reasons, but one of the reasons that I do clean comedy is because just dropping F-bombs and stuff, it is way easier to get laughs. Way easier. Like, it's so much easier to get laughs when you drop F-bombs and stuff. I know, because sometimes I do it in Austin when I'm bombing. I try not to do it much, but every now and then I'm like, all right, I'm going down with both guns blazing. I got to get these people to laugh at something. And sure enough, you say some of those blue words and then everyone's laughing. So all it does is prove that it's harder to get laughs when you stay clean, but it keeps you in the territory of real stuff and real life. So all that is to say, it will be interesting. I think these shows will be historic for me personally, because they're either going to work or not, and there's not going to be middle ground. I'm either going to alienate this audience who doesn't want to hear jokes about this subject, and it'll be like doing comedy in Milwaukee, where the people just like stare at you and you're like, is my mic on? Like, do you guys hear the words that I'm saying? Or it will be riotously fun because a lot of other people are struggling and can relate to what I'm saying. I'm sorry, the poltergeist door is at it once again. So it will be interesting. Am I nervous about it? That just performance pressure. I mean, you're like a headliner. Everyone's paying money to just see you. You have to make them laugh. No, I'm not. And my secret is that I don't care anymore. Like we're going to St. Jude's after this. Like, whatever. I actually think I have some really good material, and it's very cathartic for me to work through it. And I think it's funny. So I'm actually really interested to see if I can do it, because most people in comedy would say, you just can't. You can't go there in stand-up comedy. You can't talk about something at this level. I think it's possible, especially with an audience full of Catholics. Because that's the thing is, when you're Catholic, you're not too surprised when suffering comes to you, because we talk about suffering all the time as part of our religion. I mean, when we read children's books to kids, it's like, this saint enjoyed horses and picking flowers until her arm was ripped off by Protestants. I mean, that is like that. This is our children's book. Like this, we read this to like kindergartners. And so when suffering comes to you, you're like, I've heard of this. Yes, we've talked about this a lot. And so, we need to pray and blame the Protestants. You're just, no, I don't think the Protestants cause cancer. Probably. Like, I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, we might want to look into it, but,
jury's still out.
Yeah, just let's, and again, I don't want anyone to feel unwelcome. Fully 50% of the employees of the Jen Fulwiler show are not Catholic. Okay. So this is an ecumenical, open-minded and diverse. I mean, when you look at this and you're like, that's diversity right there. So they're very diverse employees here at the Jen Fulwiler show. So anyway, it'll be interesting. I don't know. It'll be memorable. That's for sure. These two shows. And my friend Donna Lee is opening, and she's coming out from Austin. I adore her. So she's a mom. And so what happened was, so she had a kid. She was in comedy. She actually was part of it was like Search for the Funniest Moms in America back in the day, way back in the day. And she and Leanne Morgan were both on that. And Leanne Morgan won it. This is way before Leanne Morgan hit it big, way before. I want to say it was like 2010 or something. And then Donna Lee had a tough time. She had to quit comedy. She was raising her kids. And now in her 50s, she was like, you know what? Let's get back to it. Let's do it. Let's get back out there. And she's so funny. It's crazy. Like she is truly hysterical. And here's the big thing is there is a show that is based out of my hometown of Austin called Kill Tony. If you have not heard of it, ask the nearest man ages 20 to 32. They have heard of Kill Tony for sure. So that's here in Austin. I know a bunch of the guys that are on that. I do shows, like when I'm on shows in Austin that are a bunch of different comedians, it's usually some Kill Tony guys are on there. And that show is known. It's like America's Got Talent in a crack house or something. And I don't mean that as an insult at all. Like I like those guys. Most of them have been nice to me. Not all, but most of them have been pretty nice to me. And I'm actually pretty good buds with a couple of them. So I don't mean that as an insult, but it's this wild show where stand-up comedians will get pulled at random to go up and do 1 minute of comedy, which is extraordinarily hard. I mean, that's crazy to try to really kill it in 1 minute, 60 seconds. Come on. So anyway, Donna Lee she had to wait for hours to see if she would get called, and she got called up on Kill Tony and did a minute of, I'm pretty sure it was clean comedy. And then Tony and whatever of his guys are up there with him, they tend to kind of poke fun at the comedians. It's a little bit, it can be kind of harsh. Like, you know, they go back and forth, and everyone knows that's the tone of the show. And she stood up there, and she, I mean, you know, they had a great rapport. I mean, it was all good. Like, she gave it right back to them, but in a fun, friendly way. I was just so proud of her. There aren't a lot of things in this world, especially related to stand-up comedy, that I would say I wouldn't do. Kill Tony is one of those things. And that's what I mean. If you're friends with me, you're crazy. That's crazy to be a clean comedian mom and be like, yeah, I'm going to go up on Kill Tony. I mean, that's crazy. By my standards, that's crazy. So anyway, all this is to say, Naples, Florida on the 22nd, Boca Raton on the 23rd, and Donna Lee is doing both of those shows. And she is lovely, and I think you guys will really enjoy meeting her. I'm sure she'll hang out after the shows. She's just like a ray of light. I love her. So have you met Donna Lee, Caitlin?
No.
Okay, I need to introduce you guys because she is just, I just love her. So anyway, that was all just set up. The main topic for today, you know that video that I was ranting about the moms are addicted to their phones? I'm going to go back to that topic because I have a second point on that I just wasn't able to get to it last time. So I am going to talk about when you see moms on social media who are like, they're trying to be relatable. And they're like, you know what? Listen, I've got 10 kids under age 11. And ladies, I'm just like you. Like, you know what? 3 weeks ago, I raised my voice. Okay. I did. And it was probably for like a good 20 seconds. So I don't want you to think that I can't relate to you. And what makes you feel worse is they are actually being sincere. They're like, this is, and my favorite is when some of these women will be like, ladies, social media gives us unrealistic standards. I want you to see that my house is messy too. There have been a couple times that I saw one of those where my reaction was, one of us has mental illness, and I am genuinely not sure which one it is. Because what I am seeing on your children's floor is so far from what I would consider mess that it's not even in the same galaxy. So either you're lying and you don't think this is a mess, or if you do really think this is a mess, I think you have some mental illness issues, or I have mental illness issues and I'm a hoarder. And there's about to be an intervention where people show up at my house and it's a camera crew and you can hear like the soft music in the background. Yeah. Like, Jennifer was a cancer mom. Look at what happened to her house as she was a brave cancer warrior. And I'm like, yeah, let's go with that. It looked way different before the diagnosis. So anyway, it actually makes you feel worse when these moms are like, ladies, look, I've got a basket of laundry right there. You know what? I haven't folded those clothes in 6 hours. I got them out and I haven't done it yet. So I don't want you to feel bad. And I'm like, I'm going to call the cops on myself, I think. Yeah. So somebody did that. That actually went viral. Did you hear that? No. I need to get that clip. I can't remember if I have the clip or not. This woman literally called the cops on herself, and I admire it so much. She has 2 kids with medical needs. She had been up all night. I think her husband was out of town, and she actually called 911 and said, like, I'm losing it. Like, I don't think I'm she wasn't saying she's like a danger to herself or others, but she just called 911 and was like, help, I can't do this. I want to run a service. It's a 3-digit number, not 911, that you can call. And me and the Village Hustle squad will show up and we're not going to do anything productive. Like, I'm not really good at cleaning. But like, I'll talk trash. We can watch some funny reels. And maybe we could like do a GoFundMe to hire a cleaning service and they can clean. But I laughed so hard in a camaraderie way when I was like, I should have called the cops on myself like a few times. I mean, you just get to that point where you're like, this is, you know what? My tax dollars, let's get some use out of them. Let's get some cops up in here. And the cops were really sweet. They gave her a hug and they were like, you're having a tough time. So anyway, we are going to talk about that subject a little bit later in the show. I'm going to get back into that and just kind of make you feel better if you ever see that, those influencers who are genuinely sincere people, so good and wholesome, and from the bottom of their heart they are trying to help you. And like, if they ever had to live 1 hour in your brain, it would be like being trapped in the most terrifying haunted house for them because they're like, they cannot even imagine what it's like, to be in this brain. Because like, they just walk around all day thinking about cleaning and wholesome thoughts, from what I can tell. That's, I mean, and I don't think they have like the massive ADHD that some of us do. I think that their brain is like, look at that basket of laundry. You know what I should do? I should fold those clothes. And you will never believe what they do next. They actually fold the clothes.
What must that be like?
I know. Can you imagine? And then they're like, still thinking about the laundry. They're like, I should put them away. And now you really won't believe what happens next. They put it away.
I think I've processed 12 other thoughts in the span of that.
So this. Okay, I was trying to get something in my room right before Caitlin got here. I actually could not reach it because there is such a mound. It was sheets and towels, and the laundry basket fell over but it's a mountain. I mean, it is like mountain climbers would be excited by this. And I couldn't get across it to reach what I was trying to grab. And I remember thinking, like, didn't I go to put this away? And I did. But here's the problem. In my defense, so what happened was I was going to put away the laundry. And then I started thinking about how much horses impacted human development and the ability to create civilizations. Because, but think about it, the societies that did not have horses, and we're talking, Bronze Age, like, I don't know, Iron Age, whatever, going way back. It would be hard to develop massive civilizations, building structures, because you have to. Okay, so now never mind. So now you're getting an example of what it's like to be in my brain. But this felt very urgent. So I had to talk to ChatGPT about it. I was like, in what areas are horses native? Who domesticated the horses first? And how did the Mayans do it? What's interesting is the Aztecs did not build those pyramids that everyone goes to visit in Mexico. Oh. Like the Pyramid of the Sun wasn't done by the Aztecs. So then we're like, well, okay, they didn't have horses, but now we have to set that as it. Who built that pyramid? The laundry didn't get put away. And by the way, this is not a bit. This is every moment of my life with no break. And here's what I'm trying to tell you for the two of you who are still listening, and we're still in setup. How long are we in? We're 22 minutes because I haven't done this is the Jen Fulwiler show. You need an award. If you're still listening at this point, you need some sort of badge. Like I should pay you. You know how YouTube gives us money for each video? I should pay you.
Every watch
you have to have galaxy brain thinking to keep up with this mess. Okay. But I think that there are some women who can fold laundry if they don't know who built the Pyramid of the Sun. I think they can. And I'm not that person, but a lot of them are influencers and they're making you feel bad. And maybe you have a different struggle. I mean, I know I'm the most relatable person in the world. I mean, I know that thousands of you are like, gosh, that is exactly how my brain works too. I think about all those same things. Very normal for a female to think about. Yeah. But, this podcast, it should have millions of views, but I block them. I block them because I like for this to be a boutique podcast. And I don't want the pressure of millions of views to each episode. But this content is very relatable, is what I mean. Tons of people are interested in this. So anyway, that was me setting up the main topic. We'll get to that later. And then I'll talk about how the cancer thing is going too. All right. Welcome to the Jen Fulwiler Show. We are coming to you from Austin, Texas. This is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That's being a hot girl boss, or hot boy boss, who knows that love and family and community are the foundations of all true success. Caitlin White is our lovely producer. We do new episodes every Wednesday morning, except I don't think there will be an episode next week because I will be getting settled into St. Jude. I do plan to update the Patreon because I do that content in a different style. It's not the absolute cinema that this podcast is. So I do some more informal updates on Patreon. So I do plan to keep that going. So if you want to see what stuff looks like at St. Jude's or whatever, I'm hoping to chronicle our drive out there from fun. Austin to, we're in Hot Springs and Memphis. I am hoping to chronicle that for Patreon, but might not be that kind of life. We'll see. but that is my goal, actually, to do that. And so I just... now we're going into the the life update thing. So let me close by saying patreon.com/thisisjen if you would like to join that community or see the behind the scenes. Like I just share quite a bit more about my life on there because some of the stuff that's going on right now, I don't want my kids' friends from school, seeing some of this. So I think I will, for a couple weeks, I might be more active on the Patreon than on here because so now, all right, now we're done with the intro. Now we're getting into the main topic. One of the crazy things about the St. Jude's trip is I don't know the schedule. And I mean, well, hang on. I know the schedule. I see what appointments are there in my chart, but I don't know when the big meetings are going to happen because I see meetings on the calendar, but I don't know, is this the big one or whatever. So I need to just plan to be there kind of indefinitely until I get the lay of the land and I can make absolutely sure that if I fly back to Austin to come do the podcast or whatever, that I won't miss any critical meetings. The other thing is, so it will be the week that is after this podcast comes out. We will get the first scans that we've had in a long time. So please pray very hard. Please ask Trent Horn's fans to pray for us. It'll be interesting. So I have a lot of anxiety about that. Please just pray super hard for those scans that we will get. So by the time you hear this, it'll be like the next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. A lot of that stuff will be set up at St. Jude. So boy, is this an exercise in spontaneity. Like I'm not positive where we're staying. I'm just driving out to Memphis and like, okay, hey, we're here. Where should we go? What should we do? What are we doing here? So I'm trying to lean into just the spontaneity of it. Like, hey, all right, kind of wish we weren't heading out here for cancer, but it's kind of fun. I mean, it's cool to take a last minute trip somewhere, and I'm trying to maintain that attitude for Lane as well. I mean, we're doing a road trip that we're driving through cool parts of the country. I'm genuinely excited about seeing Hot Springs. And I haven't booked that hotel yet. I might need to splurge on we might be staying somewhere nice in Hot Springs, Arkansas, because when you're heading out to St. Jude, you need to live a little. So I might have to do that. So what's interesting? This is another. It's kind of a culture of life thing, I would say. I had an interesting realization the other day that it is truly a shocking thing that in my house, there is not only no sense of pity, but no sense of sadness about Lane's condition. Meaning, let me explain what I mean by that. Obviously, everyone is, devastated, sad, whatever. Of course, we wish she didn't have this diagnosis. But what I mean is when Lane comes downstairs, when Lane enters a room, it's not, And so Caitlin, you spend a lot of time at my house. I mean, have you noticed that Lane just hangs out with people and it's not like, oh, the poor, this is sad. It's not like that, I don't
feel like anything's changed.
Yeah, no, it hasn't.
So we just come in and do the same thing.
Yeah. And what is interesting and I find very iconic, Lane does not wear wigs or headscarves. I find it very iconic. And because she is so pale, she makes me look like I have a deep tan. Like I am way darker skinned than my daughter. She is like white as a sheet of paper. And not from the cancer. Like that is her natural, that's her natural state of being. She's very, very pale. And so being bald, it is, it's like her skin kind of glows in a cool way. I mean, she looks like exotic in the coolest way. She looks amazing, but it is like, notice her, it's like, whoa, that is a, wow. Like she looks so cool. Like, is that, like a rock star or something? but what I'm trying to say is she does not disguise the fact that she is bald from the radiation and chemo. She doesn't disguise it. She doesn't wear hats, nothing. And and she still can't walk on her own. We're working on it, but she does very much have to use a walker for every step, and every step is kind of difficult. And I had this moment of profound gratitude for my life. And okay, I can't get choked up on because I've got shows coming. Caitlin, if I start crying on stage, I'll be banned from these clubs. Like, I can't perform anymore. Okay. I'm not going to get choked up. But I thought of you guys, my village people, my podcast people, the 4 of you who are still listening after that 22-minute intro. And I will say this. Now that the chips are down, now that we are facing a true life worst case scenario, I will say that all of the principles on which I have built my family, and therefore the principles that I talk about on this podcast, they are so good. They are so good, and they will lead you to a strong, beautiful, thriving family life. And I will say, and this is not me trying to be a Catholic snob, there's just no way around it, that these are very Catholic principles. So if you don't want to be Catholic, that's fine. I'm nobody's nanny. That's fine. You don't have to be Catholic. But I mean, I was living a different way before we became Catholic. I had a much different worldview. And if I had stayed in the worldview in which I was raised, the palpable grief and sadness that would linger in my house would be hard to overstate. I've talked before about how secular culture leads you to want to have kind of like a museum life where everything is perfect. If you interact with other people, it is in a way that fits on your Google Calendar after your 5 a.m. run and ice bath that you do with perfect consistency every day, because that's your atomic habit. Then you have bonding community time from 10:45 a.m. until 11:16 p.m. on your calendar. Like, that's, secular culture. And it's like you're supposed to have this house where everything is perfect and arranged and exactly according to your taste. And you can go on vacation exactly when you feel like it because everything is just controlled and perfect. If I had built that museum life for myself, especially in the extra amplified version that I was in when really up until I was in my mid-20s, where I really thought like kind of family's a burden. Frankly, I was just like, other people are annoying. And I didn't want to get married. I certainly didn't want to have kids. It was like, I'm going to live for me, whatever. And even if I had started thinking about kids in that mentality, it would have been like, well, you just want to kind of hold your nose and get through it. It's not like the meaning of life or anything, to have these intimate connections with other people. Anyway, that's a whole worldview. John Paul II called it the culture of death. Museum life is another way to put it. If that had been my life, it would be hard to overstate how depressing my house would feel, because I have a 19-year-old who was thriving and doing amazing in college, who is now in a very serious cancer battle, and she can't walk. And I mean, she seems like a disabled person. Like she can't, her vision has not come back quite the right way. So, she often squints and stuff. And again, iconic, it doesn't do headscarf or wig or anything. And, she can't, she today, right before Caitlin got here, she needed to get up to do something. And it was like, slowly with her walker, moving across the room. And in museum life, that would be kind of the center of gravity of the house. And it would be very palpable and present if that were the case. And I want to be clear, but by museum life, by culture of death, I mean a mentality more than the number of children you have. That plenty of people they're part of the culture of life, but it was only one kid worked out for them. So I'm not talking about the exact number of kids you have, but in culture of death, museum life mentality, I think it would feel pretty devastating. As it is, Caitlin just said, you don't really feel a change. Lane's kind of in the way when you're trying to walk into the kitchen and the kids will make jokes, about it. And I think what it is because our conversion to Catholicism, Joe converted at the same time I did, but because that came with a philosophical conversion, that it wasn't just about, okay, we go to mass now, but it was about adopting the entire worldview that comes with it. It was a fundamental change. It was like, putting on 3D or taking off 3D glasses or putting them on or something. It was like this fundamentally different way of seeing the world. And as part of this very Catholic, very culture of life, viewpoint, one of the things that comes with it is accepting that mess and chaos and inconvenience and noise and that sort of thing, that is the sign of a good life. If you have perfect atomic habits and everything fits on your calendar perfectly and you can hit your goals on time always because you're dedicated to your goals and your schedule, like if that's how your life is working out, you probably don't have much of a real community, because by definition, when you have real connections with people, real village, real family, real community, it is by definition messy. It is your aunt calling you and because she's crying and she needs her toilet plunged at 6 o'clock in the morning when you were just about to do your jog that you had like committed to doing, but she's your aunt, so you got to go help her. Frankly, it's your sister getting cancer. And suddenly, the trip you plan to take with your friends, you're going down to MD Anderson Cancer Center instead. It's stuff that it's mess, it's chaos compared to the museum life worldview. And I had to accept the mess and the chaos life in order to accept the culture of life, because having a bunch of people around means constant inconvenience, just people running in and out. Like, who's that kid who just walked through my living room? And then like going back to scrolling reels because I actually don't care anymore. That's like that. Just kind of accepting that as a way of life, that it's not going to be museum perfect when you embrace the culture of life. The result of this is that my house is so full of life and love, and this is a really key thing, of multi-generational energy, multi-generational presence. So in fact, today is the perfect example of it. So my oldest came home from college with his new girlfriend, who we love. So she was there. And then one of my middle kids, her boyfriend came over, really nice kid. We like him as well. So he was there. Then one of our friends, I've mentioned our friends from Mexico who were very, very close with my grandparents back in the day, who we've continued to be connected with. And this lady in particular, she doesn't speak English. And so my Spanglish was really put to work today. So she stopped by, and she's about my mom's age. And then my mom stopped by, and let's see, the puppy was not here yet. Oh yeah, but one of Caitlin's kids was here, and there was someone else as well. But the point is, all 6 of my kids were here. All of these other random kids were here. I think someone else like was coming in and out. Eventually Caitlin got here, like when she brought the puppy here. Where is do we know where the puppy is? He's in the studio. Oh, that's right. That's right. He got handed off. And so you have grandma energy with my mom and with our friend. But there's also a lot of youthful energy because there are all of these kids running around. And the grandmas have that big picture perspective of life. Like, you know what, it's hard times, but years from now, you'll look back on this as a blip in your life. And like, so they have that energy. The young people have the energy of like, did you guys see this reel? I mean, they don't care. Like they don't care if Lane has hair or not, or and the only thing they care about with her being disabled, I guess temporarily. I don't know what the outlook is there, but they just want to ride on her walker. I mean, that's like that is what they care about, and the cats like to be on it. And so, I mean, this walker has really added a lot of value to our lives because the cats will get on it, and so they'll push the walker around, and again, I think the fact that our religious beliefs are such that, I mean, we're prepared for suffering. I would say only half kidding. I'm not sure I was kidding at all with what I said at the beginning. I mean, we constantly talk about suffering in the Catholic Church. So one, we were prepared for it. We believe in redemptive suffering, that you can take your suffering and turn it into love, turn it into a prayer. And we're also very trained as Catholics to kind of not think about yourself, to think about the big picture, think about other people, whatever. So anyway, you put that all together. And we have this house where I just thought, I think this is the greatest accomplishment. Accomplishment's not the right word because it's not like something I've personally achieved, but it's like the greatest accolade that you could ever get in life. It just made me feel like, you know what, everything's actually fine. Everything's fine. I'd like the Comedy Millions, honestly. I'd like money, but okay, but short of that, but it was just like the fact that my life has worked out such that we can have this terrible worst case scenario. And my house is still the place to be. It's still a party. It's still fun. And there's nothing self-conscious about like, let's invite the cancer patient to play the game. It's just, Lane's just part of it. We're just used to having all sorts of people of all ages and all abilities in and out of this house. And the fact that cancer has been made a non-issue by the culture of our home. It's a non-issue because there's so much chaos and so much going on. I mean, and keep in mind with that scene that I set earlier, that it's all the kids and the girlfriend and the boyfriend and then our friend from Mexico is there. And so we're like trying to speak in Spanish to her, but my mom doesn't speak Spanish at all. So all of us are pretty bad at Spanish. And so we're trying to translate, to talk to my mom. It was so funny and so beautiful. Like Pammy harangued her older brother who was home from college with his girlfriend. She harangued him and the girlfriend into taking her to Hobby Lobby, and she loves to show people her hauls. And so Lane is the perfect captive audience for that because Lane can't walk. And so Pammy's like, look, and then I got this, and then I got this. And it was so charming and so cute. It made me so happy. But I just looked at that and I was like, this is like all that matters. I mean, it's so good. And it's so, this is what it looks like when life turns out right. Not the cancer, but the fact, but this is kind of part of it, that like, that we can take it. And not only are we absorbing the cancer tragedy, but it's like kind of adding to the fun with the kids pushing each other and the cats around on the walker. It's like, it's not a sad, dreary thing. And when I saw Lane walking, you know, kind of stooped over and struggling a little bit, and, you know, she's lost her hair, and I was like, gosh, there are a lot of ways that my life could have turned out that it would, you know, as a mom, it would be hard not to cry every time I saw that. And it dawned on me, I'm like, this doesn't feel sad in this house. It's never felt sad. It's never felt sad. And that's because of the worldview that I, thank God, fell into and raised my family in. So I will say this, everything I talk about on this podcast and have been talking about since the beginning of this podcast is being put to the test in the most extreme way at this point in my life. And I can tell you, it's all good. It's all good and true. So everybody convert to Catholicism immediately. Going for 100% employees Catholic here on the Jen Fulwiler show. Speaking of which, okay, actually, we're going to shift gears in a really big way. So buckle up. We're hiring. Yeah. This is exciting. This is really, it is. It's really exciting. If you would like to be part of the Jen Fulwiler show team, I am hiring. I am hiring for a security person who will taser weird Catholics when they say weird things to me. It's time, with a lot of people coming up to me and saying that they're praying for Lane. I so appreciate it. Like when I run into people that were praying for Lane, wonderful. It just warms my heart every time. And when they stop there, that's good. That's great. Wow. I have had some truly crazy things said to me. And I need someone to help me handle it. I need someone, and you know what? And it would be up to your discretion as to when they get tasered, you know, because there's not like a bright line test of like, okay, I mean, what they said is like, it's true, but that's an annoying thing to say, you know, to a mom. It would be up to your discretion. Okay. So yeah. So if you feel like someone crossed a line with me, you just get them. Like you can taser them. Now the payment is, our budget is not vast, but I will give you free access to the Patreon. So, and you just have to travel with me at all times. So if you would like to apply, Caitlin, Katlyn at thejfshow.com.
Can't wait to see
yes, send in your CV. Send in your resume, and in a thorough cover letter, just background check, fingerprints, your social security number, and your bank routing number and account number, and that's all we need.
Taser.
And hey, there is some really good content on my Patreon. So I think once you like see the content, you'll be like, that's a pretty good deal. So that's what I'm hiring for. These people are going to turn me into the Joker. Okay. I wasn't going to go off on this tangent, but hit the sound effect because I am. Let me just say this. In your zeal to be super Catholic, make sure that you are not trying to be more religious and more like close to God than our Lord himself. Because I have had people say to me, you know, wouldn't it be wonderful? And they know nothing about like Lane's diagnosis or whatever. They're like, wouldn't it be wonderful if she were just called home to the Lord?
What?
No, I've had people. So now you say, okay, I wasn't going to give specific examples because I didn't want to make anyone, you know, feel bad if they watch this podcast and they said that to me. I literally, and I have witnesses, people have said that to me. Talking about my 19-year-old daughter. And so obviously I need, so now we'll get the applications. Now people are like, okay, that was a joke, but actually, okay,
mine
she
first.
needs it. You know, before our Lord went to his suffering, he asked for the cup to be like, let this cup pass me, but you know, if it is your will. So that is like, you are actually trying to be more holy than Jesus by being like, personally, I would just want to die, you know, and I've had just other things along those lines. Weird Catholics need to stop talking to me is something that needs to happen. By the way, now here's an example of me being a weird Catholic. Some of you guys might know who Jackie Francois Angel is. She's very famous in the Catholic ghetto. She's lovely. And she's one of those people, like when I talk about people who, they're just good. You know, if her Instagram content ever makes you feel inferior or anything, it's because you are. Because she's just good. It's not a bit. It's not for social media. Like if she seems like she is just, you know, like she seems really holy and into her faith online. It's like that's just her. I mean, she's just sharing her life. I adore her. She is one of my favorite people. And I ran into her recently. And afterwards, I had said because we're going to St. Jude's, we're praying the St. Jude novena. It's just a 9-day series of prayers. And that just seems, you know, if you're going to St. Jude, you should pray the St. Jude novena. And so she had said she would join us in that, which is so gracious and so kind of her. And so we're in this group of people. and so, you know, people were talking and Jackie said, okay, how did she phrase it? She said, Jen, I'm going to pray with you. And I thought she meant, so a lot of, there are people who are, like, I think of them as being like her in the sense that they are just naturally such holy, good, God-loving people. And I've had them pray over me, like in the moment. This will happen before shows. We have really freaked out some comedy club managers because they'll be like, Jen, let us lay hands on you and pray over you. And this happens a fair amount. And so I thought it was that. I thought we were doing that because she has that natural, you know, zeal for God that it's like if I did that, I would end up with a restraining order. It would be so weird. Could you imagine if I was like, Caitlin, I'm going to and I start touching you and you feel like
you're not a touchy person.
Yeah. She would me too me and rightfully so, you know, like this is wait, I work with this woman. This is real. Hang on. So I couldn't do it, but like Jackie is, I don't know if she like, you know, prays over people like that, but she could because she just has that natural, you know, Holy Spirit flow to her. So I thought that's what she was doing. And so in this group of people, like I'd bow my head and I'm like this, and she just meant she was going to pray this novena with me over the next 9 days. And so these people are looking at me. I have my head bowed and my hands up and they're like, what is she doing? And like, I don't know if I should like pretend like I'm having a seizure or something. I don't know. I mean, and that's why I don't leave the house and shouldn't. Let's see. Okay. Let's get to the main. All right. We'll get to the main topic because we're not doing an episode next week because of the St. Jude's trip. So, but I hope to be back the week after that though. So let's get everything out of the way now. Okay. Caitlin, play again that video that had me all wound up last week. This is the same one from episode 282 that I just disagree with this premise and I think it's inaccurate because I have a new angle on it.
You are not overstimulated as a stay-at-home mom. You're addicted to your phone and to social media. And then when your children and your household require you for very mundane tasks, you're not getting a dopamine hit off of that. And then you call it overstimulation. Literally, who said that?
All right. So last week we talked about how if you are disconnected from the ancient traditions of your people about how you raise your kids, how you dress your kids, how you discipline your kids, how you educate your kids, how you feed your kids, which 100% of us are, that adds a lot of mental load to your life. And it's not a bad thing. I know we are all happy to have these kinds of choices, but it's a good thing that comes with a lot of mental load to have to make all of these decisions and then carry the weight of, did I make the right education choice? You know, am I feeding them the right things? Our great-great-grandmothers never had that weight on them. Again, I think we have it better, but you do live with this low-grade stress that is just kind of always there because of it. Okay, so that was, if you want more on that, episode 282. Here's the angle I want to go into today that I just did an excellent job of setting up in the 22-minute intro. There is a range of brain types and personality types, and some are more of a natural fit with the domestic arts than others. An example of this is my dear friend Chrissy Horton. I adore her. You need to look up, let's see, her account is Horton Lane. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Horton Lane. I adore her. She's one of those people. She is the real deal. What you are seeing on her Instagram account is the authentic, real her. She is such a kind, loving human being, and I love her. And it's interesting because, okay, so she just announced that she is pregnant with her 7th baby. I have 6 kids, so so up until recently, she had 6 kids, and so we could relate on that. And it has always been so funny for me to watch her account because I'm like, my experience of having 6 kids could not be more different. If I weren't older than her, like if our kids weren't different ages, we should like partner on accounts or something. It would be a night and day difference of her approach to having a bunch of little kids to mine. And I will say again, my kids are turning out great. This is, I told you, with everything we're going through with Lane and all of that, I have never felt more confident in who these kids are turning out to be, the bonds that they have with each other, how much they sincerely care about each other. Not saying that we never have any blips on the radar, but I am very beyond thrilled with how everything is turning out. So my neurodivergent and crazy way of doing things can work too. You wouldn't guess, but it can. But I always, the contrast to me and Chrissy Horton is so wild. And one of the things that I always try to get out there is there is a very valid and very fun and very interesting path to not only being a mother, but having a larger number of children, if that feels right for you, for women who don't love being pregnant, don't love the baby phase, don't even really love the toddler phase. Again, to be clear, we adore our children. Like, I'm sorry, but I had the cutest babies. I mean, guys, it's not, I don't know. It's not even close. My kids were so cute. I adored them to pieces, but I had absolutely zero skills that you would want to be the primary caretaker for babies and toddlers. It was a whole mess. And most women in our culture would say, well, even if my heart feels led to have a bigger family, I can't, because I'm not into being pregnant. I'm not, like, I don't want to breastfeed my kid till they're 8. Like, that just doesn't feel right for me. And, I'm not good with like toddlers and preschool type stuff and cleaning the house. And so many women miss out on a path that might have actually been really good for them because they think that you have to have that personality type where domestic things and little kid things and baby things come easily to you. And you really don't. You really don't. Like, every time I see Chrissy Horton, like when she was announcing her pregnancy, she's like, oh, it's great. It's like, it's going to be so fun. And like, with almost all of my pregnancies, I was like, I can't do this. We have no money. This is crazy. This is, and then of course, like, as time goes on, you're like, okay. But I've told my kids this, and I've told my daughters this, that it's okay to have a moment of being like, oh, this won't, let's look 9 months ahead. Like, wait, I had plans. Like, it's okay to have that moment. Like, this is a lot. And then of course, like, the pregnancy goes on, the kid gets here, and like, your love for this kid is like so infinite. And you're like, obviously the entire universe, like, might as well not even exist if this kid weren't here. But yeah, it's okay when you first get that news to be like, this is really stressful, and like, I don't love being pregnant, and I'm not loving this experience. And then, like, some of us, it's like Chrissy Horton, she's all, cute and fit with her little baby bump. Listen, when I am pregnant, I am a sack of potatoes. There's not one baby bump picture of me on the internet. Not one. You can't find. They could do some conspiracies about, because like I had 6 babies in 8 years. There's not one. You can't find it. There's not a pregnancy picture of me on the internet. Because I turn into a sack of potatoes when it's not cute. It's not like look at my butt. No, it's like, look at this mess. It doesn't work. And those of us, let me start over. I think there are 2 ways to approach having a, bigger than you might have expected size family, whether that's 3 kids, 6 kids, 8 kids, I don't know. I think there are different mentalities to approach it. One of them is for the moms for whom, like, they're just good at it. I don't know what else to tell you. They're like, ha ha, the baby woke me up 4 times last night. It's a season. It passes. That was not me. That I was losing my mind. I was on the edge. I was like yelling at everyone, flipping out all the time. I don't do well with that. And so I would say that 95% of the women who you see having, more than 1 or 2 kids, because of the way that the culture pressures women, that's, they're like kind of the natural, I don't know, Brady Bunch, like they're just really wholesome, great people who they're just naturally good with like babies and toddlers. There is the other 5% who have more of a Game of Thrones mentality towards, it's like we're getting to this is a means to an end. And again, I cannot tell you how obsessed I was with my babies and toddlers. And I see pictures of them and I'm like, I genuinely feel so bad for people who didn't have these kids, because like these kids were so perfect and so adorable. So I want to be clear that I love them to pieces, and I'd cuddle them and they'd sit on my lap, and it was all good in terms of how much I loved them and adored them. But my skill set was like, I'm not the one who's going to be kneeling down and being like, let's not forget to use our words. Now let's play blocks. It's like, no, it was just constant chaos, a lot of yelling, me not being good at any of it. And having 6 babies in 8 years, it's like, oh, the baby's crying and now the toddlers are making a mess. And the constant state of mental chaos that I lived in was honestly hard to describe. Like it was truly crazy. I can't believe I wrote a book during that. Well, actually, writing that book was actually sort of how I kept my sanity, because I could go into that cerebral world during nap time and just think about things that were very linear and clean and tidy. So anyway, women who are neurodivergent and not good at those kind of little kid baby season things, listen, you can have a big family too. You just have to have like a Game of Thrones mentality. If you can afford help, which I mostly couldn't, but like have 5 nannies. If you're rich, like have a bunch of nannies. If you can't afford help, you just kind of accept, like, I am going to be the mom who looks at her phone too much, because this is really stressful to me. To take it back to that video that I keep going back to, some of us are more naturally stressed out by the little kid season of life than others. It is our brain wiring. We're just never going to be that person who is super chill about, the baby woke me up 4 times last night. It's a season. Oh my gosh. That's never been my take. It never will be. I lose my mind. And it's like, that was like years out of my life. I was just like resisting it and losing my mind. Some of us we're not built for it, and we can do our best and we can try our hardest, but that baby toddler season it's not going to be our A game. It's just not. Now, unfortunately, I think most of the influencers who talk about being a mom in terms of the baby and little kid season, most of them that I've seen anyway do tend to have that, look at what a mess our floor is. And you're like, my floor has never looked that good. Like it's never, maybe when we first moved in. So I just wish that more women understood that you can desire and see how you can be good at like having a bigger family, again, from like a dynasty, from a Game of Thrones perspective. Like, listen, guys, we're going to suffer through the baby toddler years together. And then when you all get older, we're going to take over the world. We're going to be a squad. We're going to be a team. And we are going to support each other. I mean, it's so cool. My oldest and my youngest are talking about, my youngest, JT, the trench war kid, he's literally about to start an LLC, and my husband and I are like trying to start. Your son's about to get roped into this by so Caitlin laughs, but like oh yeah. No, my son is literally on the. He's like, all right, listen, we can warehouse at Bobby's house. We'll warehouse there, and I found a drop shipper. Verbatim, I walked in and heard that, and so now he's got my oldest helping him with enabling him, but just he's going to become a billionaire. Like he'll be the next Jeff Bezos. And then, that's how I'll get the comedy millions. Yeah. You know,
leave it to them.
Yeah. But that's like a very Game of Thrones, like having a big family. Like, yes, it was lovely. The little babies and toddlers, that was great. Okay. But I wasn't good at it. But what I am good at is being like, make it an S corp, not an LLC. And like, here's how we're going to take down your competition. And yeah, don't warehouse at Bobby's house. Like you need the drop ship actually to base it in Denver, because that's like central. I'm good at that. And like talking to my son, who is an AI developer, about, okay, what are the best places that you should get a job, and who should be targeting. And that is never presented to moms. It's all this video of like, if you're scrolling your phone because you find the baby and toddler season to be stressful, why are you even a mother? You know, you suck at motherhood. And it's like, do you guys understand the passage of time, and that these kids aren't going to be this little forever, and that maybe this woman who's stressed out by this season and scrolling her phone a lot, she's probably going to crush it in the teenage years, because she's probably more of a cerebral, analytical, maybe slightly ADHD kind of person. And those kind of people don't tend to thrive with the little kid stuff, but they tend to crush it with the preteen, teen, adult kind of stuff. Or at least find it easier. I mean, no one feels like they're crushing it with teenagers. Don't get me wrong. No one's like, oh, I've got life all figured out. Everything's perfect with my teens. I'm not saying that. No one who has ever had teens has said that. But I will say, even in the hardest times we've had with teens, I feel like this is hard, but I am equipped for it. I feel equipped for the struggle. Just don't forget that if having an unusually large number of kids is not off the table for you, just because like you would be the worst preschool teacher in the world. There is a path of just kind of doing your best, loving as much as you possibly can during that season, and being like, this is not going to be where I shine. It is not. but just wait. We're Game of Thrones. Like, we're going to take over the other empires. We'll do some arranged marriages. I'm about to shine here in a few years. So just keep that in mind, guys. There are a lot of different pressures on you that are invisible to you and to others, because our society just thinks it's normal, like not having a village, like not having generational decisions made for you about what to feed your kids, how to send them to school. And then also just, living without a support system, especially if you're someone whose brain is like not good at the little kid stuff. So don't ever let these people shame you, whether it is people who are intentionally trying to shame you and say you're bad if you're doing this, or whether it's people they're just honestly so much better at it than you, that like they are trying to be relatable, and you're just like, wow, I really suck, because they are trying to make me feel better, and it is totally backfiring. just know that you're doing way better than you think you do. You're under a lot more pressure than you realize you are. And I promise you that you are doing better than you think you are. So no episode next week. Please pray so hard for our first week at St. Jude. It's going to be momentous. It'll be a really big deal. And I'll be back with you. I'll be on Patreon regularly, and I'll be back with you as soon as I can. Life will be very different the next time you hear from me on this podcast. Assuming I survive Memphis gang violence, life will be very different. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back with you, I guess, not next week, but the one after, here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.